Welcome back. I'm Maureen Cavanaugh. You're listening to These Days on KPBS. And my guest is Congressman Brian Bilbray. We're taking your calls at 1-888-895-5727. We just started talking about the border. And, of course, the phone lines have lit up, and a lot of people want to get in on the conversation. Let me speak with Enrique. He's, I believe, speaking on a phone on I-5. And, Enrique, welcome to These Days.
Thank you. And I'm actually on my way to meet some Mexican diplomats in Los Angeles as we speak. And Brian was the former spokesperson for the Federation of American Immigration Reform, which is a hate group that's classified by the Southern Poverty Law Center, sponsored in part by the Pioneer Fund, which believes in eugenics, the creating a superior white race. And I assure you that Brian Bilbray is no friend of Mexico. And to be talking about immigration and these types of politics of fear and deception is not welcome and it's not healthy. What we need to do is the drug problem is a huge problem. It's driven by the demand of the American market, which consumes half the world's illegal drugs. There's no legal way for people to cross into the country right now, people that are lower on the economic scale. And we need to have really progressive, honest people working in Congress, and not people like Brian Bilbray, which like to promote the politics of fear and deception, which as a former spokesperson for the Federation of American Immigration Reform, a hate group, was promoting these politics as the spokesperson. And so I think it's shameful that we have people like this in the Congress. I believe in free speech, but I don't believe in being the person that goes out there and yells fire and starts the fire.
Enrique, let's give the congressman a chance to respond. Thank you for your call.
Well, I think Enrique makes my point better than anything else. The person spreading the hate and speaking and attacking. Enrique basically articulated a position of intimidation, lack of appreciation of free speech. The fact is, I work with all the countries in Latin America as much as possible, especially Mexico and Central America. And maybe Enrique ought to come down and meet with us when we meet the ambassadors, when I meet with the parliament. I don't think that in American society, attacking somebody because they disagree with you is enlightened or progressive. I think that that is probably the definition of hate speech. So, Enrique, I just have to say, think twice. You make your living attacking people and attacking positions. And as somebody who not only grew up on the border, I'm probably the only member of Congress that rescued illegal immigrants when they were drowning. I've recovered their bodies. I've seen the carnage down along the border, and I wish a lot of people, Enrique was around in the 80s when we were trying to point out that more people die every year trying to come into this country illegally than were killed in the Oklahoma explosion. Where was the outcry in the 80s and the 90s when nobody wanted to be bothered?
I wonder, though, Congressman, is associating yourself with kind of hardcore anti-immigration groups, doesn't that lessen your credibility when you speak about a really healthy and good relationship with Mexico and trying to deal with our mutual problems?
Well, first of all, hardcore anti-immigration is, I'm a son of an immigrant. My mother was an immigrant from Australia. Those of us who are the product of legal immigration take real offense at people not drawing a very clear and defined line between legal and illegal. And I think that just because there are people that want cheap illegal labor to be able to exploit, doesn't mean that it's justifiable to continue this mixing. And frankly, as a son of a legal immigrant, I resent people like Enrique who tried to hide illegal activity behind our great tradition of legal, measured, and moderate immigration policies.
Let me take another call. Mila, I believe, is in Pacific Beach. Good morning, Mila. Welcome to These Days.
Good morning. I wondered if Brian considered withdrawing from the Congress after he belonged to a party that brought this country to an economic bankruptcy, and all their policy created nothing but hate and willfulness around the world. He's been at it for a long time, and as a matter of fact, as part of the economic crisis, I got unemployed last year. I sent him an email. I needed some help with it. Never responded. I wonder if he should consider resigning.
Thank you, Mila, for those comments.
Well, Mila, when I left Congress in 2000, we had a balanced budget. We had a huge surplus. Granted, while I was gone, there was 9/11. The nation went under war. I think that both Democrats and Republicans, especially Republicans, are responsible for abandoning the concept of budget responsibility by using the war on terror as an excuse to try to buy political power with taxpayers' monies on domestic issues. So I agree with you that the party was very much failed, and that's why I decided to come back into the fray, because I think they had abandoned the things that all of us had worked for. We've been, severely attacked in the 90s over trying to balance the budget, but finally Bill Clinton and the Republicans in those days got together for the good of the country and we worked it out. And I think Bush, the Republicans and the Democrats during the aughts, as they say it, the early part of the aughts, abandoned that concept. And I hold guys like the Republican leader delay responsible for thinking that just because the Democrats kept in power by buying votes with taxpayers' money, that the Republicans ought to try it. And I think people were frustrated with the Republicans because they were acting like most parties do when they get in power. They start being abusive.
Now, Congressman, you voted against the stimulus package, the economic stimulus package, along with all the other Republicans in the House. And I'm wondering, we are starting to see some positive signs in the economy. Do you still think that was a good vote?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I was a mayor when I was 27. I was a county supervisor of a county of 3 million people. There is no way I would have allowed a city manager to give me a piece of legislation or a budget 10 minutes before midnight and then expect me to start debate at 9 and vote on it at 12. As somebody that could hire and fire, I wouldn't allow them to push me into voting on something that no one got to read. Even Bob Filner, a good friend of mine, but Bob voted for it. Even Bob said it was outrageous, the things that were stuck in there, and that he was asked by his leadership to trust them. And that's where remember the AIG, this is where the big pay raises and the bonuses for the executives at AIG going. There's a lot of this kind of thing. So to me, it was even beyond the contact, was the whole process that we had a law, a regulation in Congress that you don't ever do this faster than 48 hours. And this attitude of having to vote for something now was used by Bush to get the bank bailout through, and then you had the new administration trying the same techniques. And I'm sorry, those of us in Congress, we have a responsibility for a prudent procedure. And trying to use crisis as an excuse to abandon all your standards, you need to vote right. And frankly, I think you're seeing a lot of people that voted for that bill that really feel bad about it.
I just have to mention that's an awful lot of critics say it happened exactly with the Patriot bill. They used a crisis to vote against.
But you didn't do it. You did not do it in a matter of less than 12 hours. You didn't even when we were under attack. We did not say you have to vote for this right now. And all fairness to the Democrats, when the Republicans were in control on the bank bailout, you had the same kind of argument. So this whole thing of don't read it, you don't have time to read it, just vote for it. And a lot of people are regretting how much is in this bill that was thrown in, and it ended up being a grab bag of a whole lot of things thrown in. And frankly, like Bob Filner said, he said that if he really regretted trusting his leadership at that time. So both sides are wrong in these kind of games.